It is possible that more people will want to hurt you the more you demonstrate that you are in pain. This is not something that happens all the time, but it is not uncommon for some people to take pleasure in seeing you suffer or even contribute to the fact that you are suffering. Even worse, this behavior of sadism and envy is unfortunately present in many people and can really hinder your personal growth in various aspects of life, whether it be at work, within a circle of friends, or even within the family. As a result, your ability to conceal your shortcomings could very well turn out to be one of your greatest strengths. Imagine that you are a tree that is in the midst of a storm. The leaves may be fluttering and the branches may be swaying, but the trunk remains stable and firmly rooted in the ground. The image of silent resilience that we are going to teach here is going to start with this. We are going to discuss the ways in which you can become even more powerful by demonstrating that you are not easily influenced by either internal or external problems. As you progress through the challenges, you will learn to be like the tree and act as if nothing is bothering you. It is not that you are denying the storm, rather, you are making the conscious decision to not allow the wind and rain to bring you down. When you are in the midst of a sea of chaos, you will learn to be steadfast, strong, and calm under your own control. Epictetus, a great and well-known philosopher, is the subject of this video, in which we will talk about 18 Stoic principles that he developed. In addition, I would like to extend an invitation to you to pursue self-awareness, a state in which the source of strength is not the rumble of thunder, but rather the stillness of light that sheds light on the way. Therefore, during the next few minutes, shift your attention away from the daily distractions and toward the content. Shall we go? First and foremost, it is important to listen twice as much as you speak. Are you ever curious about the reason why nature gave us 2 ears but only 1 mouth? Epictetus asserts that this is not a mistake or a coincidence, but rather a deliberate purpose, and that it is for the purpose of preventing us from falling in love with our own voice as much as we ought to fall in love with the voices of others. Rather than consistently repeating what we already know, we can make progress in life by gaining knowledge from other people and gaining new perspectives. Therefore, beginning today, place a greater emphasis on listening to what the people around you have to say and pay less attention to what you have been defending up until this point. This principle serves to remind us of the significance of attentively listening to others and gaining knowledge from them. The majority of the time, we are so preoccupied with our own thoughts and ideas that we fail to recognize the possibility of expanding our knowledge by gaining insight from the viewpoints and experiences of other people. When we listen more than we speak, we create space for ourselves to comprehend various points of view, acquire fresh insights, and strengthen our relationships with other people from our community. Because of this practice, we are able to develop both personally and intellectually so that we can become wiser and more connected to the world around us. The second principle is to always be ready for the worst possible scenario. The anticipation of unfavorable circumstances in the future is one of the primary factors that triggers anxiety and contributes to the devastating effects of anxiety. We are concerned that our children will not attend school, that we will lose our jobs, that our spouse will come clean about having an affair and ask for a divorce, or that some other unfavorable event, such as bankruptcy, will occur. The problem is that we fear one of these situations one day and then worry about another one the next day, and so on and so forth. There are bound to be times of joy and contentment along the path of life, but there are also bound to be times of difficulty that are unavoidable. As a consequence of this, we face a constant state of stress brought on by a variety of worries on a daily basis. At this juncture, Epictetus's philosophy becomes applicable, as it is both extreme and effective in its application. He encourages us to come to the realization that everything that we are afraid of has already taken place. What could possibly be more terrible? Our spirit is able to develop coping strategies with the help of this perspective, which enables us to move forward with determination. We learn to adopt a mindset of preparation in order to face the challenges that life throws at us through this principle. Instead of living in constant fear of the unknown, we are encouraged to consider the worst possible scenario as a possibility and to think about how we would respond to it. This will allow us to avoid living in constant fear of the unknown. By taking this approach, we are able to cultivate resilience and coping strategies, which in turn helps us reduce the anxiety that is brought on by the unpredictability of the future. At the end of the day, we become more capable of dealing with adversity when it occurs and moving forward with confidence and determination when we confront our fears head-on. Rule number 3 is that you should always be ready to fail, because that is the only way to make progress. Quite frequently, we will go to any lengths to avoid being perceived as foolish. However, Epictetus presents an alternative viewpoint. This is one of the best things that can happen, according to his philosophy, and it is also one of the best things that can happen. To put it another way, this is the genuine way to advance both personally and professionally. According to the Stoic philosopher, overcoming does not result from an instant reaction, but rather is the result of a lengthy process of trial and error. This is something that we should keep in mind, because we can only perfect what sets us apart from excellence through the process of making mistakes. Embracing failure as an integral part of the learning and development process is something that this principle encourages us to do. Instead of being afraid of appearing foolish, we ought to realize that making mistakes is not only unavoidable, but also an essential component of the process of progress. Developing resiliency, gaining experience, and honing our skills are all outcomes that can be attributed to the challenges and difficulties that we face. We allow ourselves to become more receptive to taking risks and confronting challenges when we acknowledge that failure is an opportunity for improvements. The adoption of this mentality enables us to pursue our objectives with resoluteness and to continuously develop. The fourth principle is to be aware of the risks associated with fortune. We have a strong desire for wealth, but it comes with a stigma that very few people are able to escape. People who suddenly appear before us and pretend to be our friends in order to take advantage of our good fortune are not the only ones involved. People are capable of being changed by money, and this change is not always for the better. As soon as we acquire ownership of this highly sought-after resource, we come to the realization that we have something that we did not possess previously. It is precisely at this point that our moral integrity is susceptible to being undermined by greed. The dangers that are associated with the unrestrained pursuit of wealth and the accumulation of material resources are brought to our attention by this principle. It highlights the fact that wealth itself has the potential to change our perspective and values, in addition to the obvious pitfalls that may arise, such as people who may approach us for financial interest. When it is not managed properly, money has the potential to taint our moral principles and distract us from the things that are truly important in life. Because of this, we are urged to strive for a reasonable equilibrium. When it comes to the pursuit of financial prosperity and the maintenance of our moral and ethical values, Principle 5 recommends that we avoid becoming fixated on a single hope. As a result of the fact that our human nature is inclined toward variety, there is no requirement for us to focus all of our enthusiasm on a single objective. When you put all of your eggs in one basket, you are taking a risk that could potentially be disastrous if the outcome does not materialize. Therefore, Epictetus encourages us to pursue a variety of dreams and goals in our lives. By pursuing a variety of objectives, we not only reduce the likelihood of being let down, but we also increase the likelihood of achieving our goals and achieving complete satisfaction. The teachings of Epictetus serve to remind us of the significance of maintaining a balanced standpoint with regard to our goals and aspirations. We make room for ourselves to investigate a variety of options and courses of action when we do not steadfastly adhere to a single hope or objective. Consequently, this not only improves the likelihood of achieving success on multiple fronts, but it also assists in the maintenance of a more balanced emotional state. This is because the failure of one goal does not necessarily mean that all of our aspirations are unsuccessful. We are encouraged to be adaptable, open to new opportunities, and resilient in the face of adversity by taking this principle into consideration. The sixth principle. Remember that death is the ultimate destination that cannot be avoided at any time. The purpose of this thought is not to encourage pessimism, but rather to serve as a reminder that death is the culmination of all of our actions and efforts. As a result of this realization, we start to question the true value of devoting valuable years to the accumulation of material possessions, such as a house, which, despite their value, will not be with us after we pass away. In the same way that we carry with us the necessities of daily life, such as a phone, cards, and a toothbrush, it would be advantageous to carry with us a small notebook that contains Stoic principles. As a result of them, we begin to view obstacles not as unfortunate occurrences, but rather as essential components of life. We no longer perceive existence as an infinite amount of time that is available to us, but rather, we develop a more realistic perception of our existence, which enables us to make more efficient and meaningful use of the time we have. This Stoic principle encourages us to contemplate the transience of life and to make use of this conscious awareness as a compass to live our lives in a manner that is more purposeful and meaningful. By keeping in mind that death is a fate that is shared by all, we are prompted to assess what is truly important and to commit our time and energy to activities and relationships that contribute to the enhancement of our lives. This allows us to live in the present moment more fully and to make decisions that are in line with our most fundamental principles, rather than allowing us to become preoccupied with superficial or material concerns. Seventh principle. The heart of a contented person is the source of true wealth. The Stoic philosophy of Epictetus provides us with a distinctive perspective on happiness, which is exemplified in one of his well-known quotations: "A wise man is one who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This reflection goes beyond simple thought. It is a guide to learn how to stop being restless for riches that we do not yet possess. We waste precious moments of joy that we could have spent expressing gratitude for what we have accomplished up to this point, which is frequently more than we are conditioned to appreciate. Because we indulge in complaining and lamenting for what we do not have, we are wasting precious moments of joy. This means that a person who is truly wealthy is one who is experiencing genuine happiness in their life. We learn to rethink our understanding of wealth through the application of this principle. Epictetus encourages us to find it in the expression of gratitude and satisfaction for the things that we already possess, rather than associating it with the acquisition of material possessions and the accomplishment of external endeavors. Without regard to the circumstances that are occurring in the outside world, this viewpoint enables us to cultivate a sense of contentment and appreciation for the present moment. Through the adoption of this mindset, not only are we able to discover inner peace, but we also end up developing a more optimistic and thankful outlook on life. The eighth principle: consider humility to be an indispensable component of your life. It is essential for a person to be willing to re-evaluate what they believe they already know in order to acquire knowledge that is genuine. By means of this adage, Epictetus encourages us to cultivate humility, particularly with regard to the process of learning. When we go through life displaying the pride that we have in our knowledge, we move further and further away from true knowledge, which is the result of acknowledging that we are ignorant about the things that we want to learn. As a result, we ought to approach each new experience with the same sense of wonder and curiosity that a child would have, a child who has the same capacity to marvel as they do the desire to learn. Regarding the learning process, this principle emphasizes the significance of maintaining a humble attitude. It is essential to our ongoing development that we acknowledge that we do not know everything, and that there is always something new to learn more about. It is not only a virtue, but also a powerful tool that enables us to keep our minds open and receptive to new ideas, perspectives, and knowledge. Humility is a virtue. We maintain our capacity to marvel at and take in the world around us in a manner that is both rich and profound when we approach life with the mindset of an eternal learner. The ninth principle: think of guilt as a curse, according. When people have limited vision, they have a tendency to blame others. When people are ordinary, they blame themselves. However, those who are truly wise understand that assigning blame is a pointless exercise. With Epictetus's words serving as a source of inspiration, contemporary therapists have begun to treat guilt as a feeling that should be deleted from our lives. To conquer guilt, the most important thing is to avoid playing its game. The difficulty lies in the fact that setting blame on other people or on ourselves is a simple way out of a difficult situation, because it absolves us of the responsibility of rectifying the errors that we have committed. As a result, falling into the trap of guilt is an alluring one. Only individuals who are resolutely committed to bettering themselves are able to avoid falling into the guilt trap while simultaneously accepting responsibility for their actions. Through the application of this principle, we are taught the significance of overcoming guilt, whether it is directed toward ourselves or toward other people. The feeling of guilt frequently acts as a barrier, preventing us from gaining wisdom from our errors and moving on with our lives. Instead of becoming fixated on who is to blame, wisdom consists of acknowledging our errors, gaining knowledge from them, and taking steps to rectify the situation. This requires a significant amount of emotional maturity as well as a willingness to grow and develop, rather than continuing to be stuck in cycles of self-reproach and guilt. We are able to move forward in a manner that is both healthier and more constructive when we acknowledge our shortcomings without falling into feelings of guilt. The 10th principle is to cultivate relationships with people who have achieved success. It is fascinating to observe how quickly we move away from someone who sneezes near us out of fear of contracting an infection. However, we frequently fail to exercise the same caution in order to avoid an even more dangerous contagion, which is that of negativity and discouragement. The advice that Epictetus provided to us was extremely helpful in this regard. We should surround ourselves with people who motivate us to improve ourselves, as the company that we choose has a significant impact on our disposition and disposition. At the same time that there are people who sap our vitality and make our day less enjoyable, there are also people who fill us with enthusiasm and joy. In light of this, one of the most prudent choices we can make is to forge alliances with individuals who bring us positivity, while simultaneously putting distance between ourselves and those who have the ability to cause us to bemoan our own existence. The importance of the environment and the company that we choose for our lives is emphasized by this principle. We protect ourselves from physical illnesses in the same way that we protect ourselves from the environment. In order to protect our mental and emotional well-being from the detrimental effects of toxic relationships, it is of the utmost importance. When we make the conscious decision to surround ourselves with individuals who inspire us, who share our beliefs, and who inspire us to pursue personal development, we not only enhance the quality of our lives, but we also give ourselves the ability to realize our full potential. This serves as a potent reminder that, to a significant degree, we are a reflection of the people that we surround ourselves with. The 11th principle is to always keep in mind that your actions directly determine your fate. We should not take our reactions to situations lightly, because they are the most important factor in determining whether or not we are successful. Epictetus made it abundantly clear that although we are unable to alter the circumstances that befall us, we do have complete control over how we respond to those circumstances. It is possible for anyone to experience misfortunes, however, the way in which we respond to them will determine the nature of our subsequent actions. It is possible that a divorce will mark the beginning of a period of depression and victimization for some individuals. Epictetus, on the other hand, understands that this presents him with a priceless opportunity to embark on a journey of self-discovery. Keep in mind that the things that occur in your life are not what make up your life, rather, it is what you do with the experiences that you have. The power of attitude and perception in determining the course of our lives is brought to light by this principle. The way in which we react to the circumstances, despite the fact that they may be uncontrollable and even unfavorable, is where our true power lies. When we choose to adopt a constructive and proactive attitude in the face of challenges, we are able to transform these challenges into opportunities for personal development. This teaching encourages us to not merely observe our lives, but rather to take an active role in them, making use of every experience, whether it be positive or negative, as a stepping stone on the path to a more profound understanding of ourselves and the world that surrounds us. The 12th principle: to always fulfill your responsibilities. Every single person plays a one-of-a-kind part in either society or the world. In the same way that the sun does not require any celebrations or rituals in order to rise at the beginning of each day, it simply appears and fulfills its natural function. Similarly, each component of nature fulfills its function, and we, as a part of it, ought to do the same. If we wait for recognition or applause before carrying out our responsibilities, we are failing not only ourselves but also the community that we are a part of. Given that we are aware of our mission and that the contributions we make are essential to the well-being of others, we have a moral obligation to take action without the need for encouragement or reminders. With the help of this principle, we are encouraged to acknowledge and appreciate the significance of both our individual and collective roles in the overall scheme of things. Being aware of the fact that every single one of our actions, regardless of how insignificant they may seem, plays a role in the operation of the whole provides us with a sense of purpose and direction. It should not be the pursuit of external recognition that should motivate our actions, rather, it should be the realization that fulfilling our responsibilities is necessary for the overall well-being and harmony of society as a whole. Through our actions, we contribute to a world that is more equitable and balanced by acting with this sense of duty. The 13th principle is to refrain from harboring hatred toward those who are hostile toward you and instead choose to ignore them. Those who criticize, ridicule, and discriminate against you are not capable of comprehending the greatness and moral superiority that you possess. Therefore, you should not waste your valuable time cultivating negative feelings for these individuals, as they do not even deserve a moment of your attention. It is strongly recommended that we do not feel fearful of those who cause us harm, because the hostile actions they take are merely attempts to harm us that are unsuccessful. Consequently, you will become immune to that kind of negativity if you choose to ignore individuals. One of the most important lessons that we can learn about how to deal with hostility and negativity is from this principle. As a result of being confronted with hostility or contempt, it is tempting to respond with feelings that are similar. On the other hand, by doing so, we give those individuals the ability to influence both our feelings and our actions. If we make the conscious decision to disregard those who treat us poorly, we not only protect our mental well-being, but also exhibit a significant amount of emotional fortitude and maturity within ourselves. Taking this approach is not about being passive, rather, it is about making a conscious decision to not allow the negativity of others to disrupt our peace of mind and overall well-being. A 14th principle. We should embrace the path of introspection and reconsideration of our life choices, and we should place an ideal of simplicity that is to be valued. This teaching shines as a beacon of wisdom in an era that is characterized by excessive consumption and the unrelenting pursuit of luxury and opulence. It sheds light on the path that leads to a way of life that is more authentic and balanced. When we make the decision to simplify our lives, we are not giving up comfort or quality of life, rather, we are re-evaluating the priorities that we have. When we compete with one another for the acquisition of material goods, we frequently find ourselves caught up in an endless cycle of wealth maintenance. This cycle requires not only monetary resources but also a significant emotional and physical investment on our part. But it is possible for this cycle to result in a persistent state of anxiety regarding payments, debts, and the requirement to maintain a lifestyle that is frequently more of a reaction to the expectations of society than a genuine expression of our desires and values. Making the decision to live a simpler lifestyle, on the other hand, makes room for a more tranquil existence that is centered on the things that are truly important. Reducing the stress and anxiety that are associated with managing wealth and financial commitments is made possible by simplicity, which enables us to slow down. This does not mean that one must live without comfort, rather, it means finding a balance in which comfort does not become a source of worry or a barrier to experiences that are more genuine and rewarding at the same time. As an additional benefit, simplicity opens the door to the possibility of a more profound and significant connection with the world that surrounds us. We gain mobility and the freedom to invest our time and energy in relationships, personal experiences, and the cultivation of our interests and passions when we liberate ourselves from the burden of possessing material possessions. When all is said and done, simplicity provides us with the opportunity to live our lives in accordance with our own values, rather than conforming to the pressures and expectations of society. By valuing simplicity, we are not just making a choice in terms of style, rather, we are moving toward a life that is fuller, more balanced, and truly rich in aspects that truly matter. These aspects include human connections, personal experiences, and the satisfaction of living a life that is truly ours. This principle teaches us that this is the case. The 15th principle says that we should give serious thought to the power of self-control and the significance of emotional resilience in our day-to-day lives. The ancient wisdom that is infused into this lesson resonates with the modern reality that we live in, where we are frequently confronted with words and actions that have the potential to disrupt our emotional equilibrium. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, teaches us that many metaphorical keys that control our emotional reactions are contained within each of us. In essence, when we allow ourselves to be irritated or disturbed by the actions and words of another person, we are, in essence, handing over one of these crucial keys to that person. Some of these keys lead us down paths of emotional turmoil, while others lead us to doors that lead to serenity and happiness. By doing so, we give them the ability to exert indirect control over our emotional state and, as a result, the quality of our existence. This principle suggests that true strength lies in the ability to construct and maintain a wall of emotional resilience. This is the essence of true strength, a defense against the destructive and unconstructive influence of other people. This wall is not a barrier to connection or empathy, rather, it is a boundary between the two. Through the cultivation of this resilience, we acquire the capacity to filter what we take in from the outside world, making a deliberate decision regarding what impacts us and what we allow to pass through. Rather than implying a lack of concern for other people, this philosophy emphasizes the importance of exercising control over one's own emotional responses. We pave the way for greater emotional freedom by acknowledging that we are unable to control the actions or words of other people, but we can control how we react to them. Having this freedom is essential to preserving mental tranquility and concentrating on the things that are necessary for our own personal development and happiness. Through the application of this strategy, we are able to achieve emotional maturity, which is the realization that although we are unable to stop the waves of behavior that are caused by other people from reaching us, we do have the ability to choose how we will surf them. By taking a stance that is characterized by resilience and self-control, we are able to maintain our inner tranquility and remain focused on our individual path, thereby cultivating an atmosphere that is conducive to well-being and contentment. At the end of the day, that is the basis for a life that is full and satisfying. Principle 16. An idea that is both profound and everlasting is brought to light, which places an emphasis on the superiority of friendship over material wealth. This instruction goes beyond merely appreciating the bonds that exist between people. Rather, it delves into the intricacies of what it means to be truly rich in terms of both one's emotions and one's spirituality. This principle serves to remind us that true wealth is found in human connections, which is particularly important in a world that is becoming increasingly materialistic and where success is frequently measured by tangible possessions and visible achievements. During times of darkness, loyal friends, especially those who remain by our sides through the ups and downs of life, are like guiding lights that illuminate the path. In addition to providing us with support and understanding, they also assist us in gaining a new perspective on the circumstances we find ourselves in, thereby enriching our lives with a variety of thoughts and experiences. Establishing and maintaining these friendships is an investment that yields returns that are incalculable. The value of genuine and sincere friendship is something that only increases over time, in contrast to the value of material goods, which can diminish or vanish entirely. A form of support that cannot be quantified is provided by these relationships, which are built on the foundations of trust, mutual respect, and affection for everyone involved. An additional benefit of investing in friendships is that it allows us to cultivate a garden of experiences and memories that eventually become a part of who we are. During times of loneliness or sadness, it is frequently these memories that bring us comfort and joy. On the other hand, during times of happiness and celebration, it is these friends who multiply our joy. This guiding principle teaches us that, in the end, the measure of our wealth is not found in the balance of our bank accounts, but rather in the quality and depth of the relationships that we maintain. A life that is full of genuine friendships is a life that is rich. In such a life, each acquaintance is a priceless treasure, a wellspring of happiness, wisdom, and power. Because of this, when we make an effort to be good friends and to keep meaningful relationships, we are not only enhancing the quality of our own lives, but we are also making a contribution to a world that is more connected, compassionate, and humanizing. Principle 17. Always look for ways to benefit from the circumstances you find yourself in. These are the words of Epictetus, who said, "No matter what occurs, it is up to you to decide whether you will benefit from it or not as a result." Finding the positive in challenging circumstances is not merely a choice, rather, it is an absolute necessity. If you possess discernment, you will have the ability to recognize opportunities that arise from the challenges that you are confronted with for as long as you have discernment. Take, for instance, the scenario in which you find out that you have been fired from your job one day. Rather than giving in to hopelessness and blaming fate, you should look at this situation as an opportunity to embark on that endeavor you have always dreamed of while working a job that is less stimulating. In light of this, you should make an effort to look for the positive aspects in every circumstance. The accumulation of this mindset over the course of a lifetime will unquestionably lead you to a destiny that is more satisfying than simply giving in to an attitude of lamentation. Epictetus is the one who provided us with this method, which encourages us to transform difficulties into opportunities for both personal and professional development. As an alternative to allowing ourselves to be overcome by adversity, we are encouraged to make use of our creativity and resiliency in order to discover alternative routes and opportunities that are disguised. But through the adoption of this mindset, not only are we able to triumph over challenges, but we also develop and fortify ourselves, thereby paving the way for a future that feels more promising and fulfilling. Principle 18. A perspective that is enlightening on how to deal with the uncertainties and challenges that life presents is provided, which was inspired by Stoic instruction. Within the context of this principle, we are guided to make a clear distinction between what is within our control and what is not, thereby highlighting the significance of concentrating our efforts and attention on aspects that we have the ability to influence. Epictetus's presentation of Stoic wisdom teaches us that many aspects of life, including the perceptions of others, our reputation, the ultimate outcome of our efforts, success, and even the availability of resources, are beyond our direct control. Stoic wisdom teaches us that these aspects are beyond our control. Because we are unable to exert control over these factors, they have the potential to cause us a great deal of distress and annoyance if we give them an excessive amount of attention. Through the application of this principle, we are encouraged to acknowledge this reality, thereby preventing the waste of time and emotional energy on matters that we are unable to alter. Instead, Epictetus recommends that we focus on enhancing the things that we have the ability to transform. This encompasses our deeds, choices, beliefs, and the manner in which we respond to the happenings in our lives. When we concentrate on these aspects, we not only increase our efficiency and the impact we have, but we also experience a greater sense of contentment and fulfillment because we are aware that we are performing to the best of our abilities within the parameters of the situation. The application of this principle is especially beneficial during times of difficulty. In challenging circumstances, it is possible that the natural tendency is to feel resentment or anguish over the circumstances. Stoic philosophy, on the other hand, encourages us to approach these challenges with a sense of curiosity and tenacity, viewing them as opportunities for learning and personal development. We are encouraged to adjust our approach and attitude, and to look for ways to make progress in spite of the challenges we face, rather than bemoaning the things that we are unable to control. In a nutshell, Principle 18 instructs us in developing the skills necessary for acceptance and transformation. We are able to navigate life with a heightened sense of purpose and tranquility when we acknowledge the things that are beyond our ability to control and work to improve the things that are within our reach. Not only does this teaching assist us in navigating the vicissitudes of day-to-day life, but it also prepares us to face more difficult times with a perspective that is balanced and constructive. After giving this principle some thought, we have come to the conclusion that Stoic wisdom teaches us to let go of things that we are unable to alter, while simultaneously encouraging us to concentrate on things that are observable and can be shaped by our actions. Not only does this viewpoint bring about a sense of inner peace, but it also guides us to direct our energy toward areas in which we can actually make a difference. The more we internalize and put this teaching into practice, the more resilient and focused we become, and the more we are able to navigate difficult times with a clear mind and a calm heart. As a result, Stoic philosophy is not merely a collection of ideas, rather, it is a methodical approach to living a life that is more balanced and satisfying. Since you made it to the end of the video, I would appreciate it if you could share your thoughts with us in the comments section. I hope you enjoy the video. We ask that you subscribe to the channel if you are new to there. Continue to be blessed and joyful.